Yo, yo, what's going on? It's Jake Straat from the Rats Get Fat podcast. I'm joined with my good friend
Zuzz Reigns.
And we're in an incredibly special place, incredibly special part of the world today.
Yeah.
We're in San Rafael at the infamous Spider Murphy's.
Yeah,
Unreal,
dude.
hey, Zuzz?
Man, this place is fucking magic.
It is magic, eh?
Yeah, you walk in and it's like, I don't know, there's a fucking air about it. There's like mystique. I don't know, it feels like a time capsule
Yeah.
of like,
It's a bit cryptic.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a little bit special. It's a little bit magical.
Yeah, man.
Damn.
It's
Spider
fucking
Murphy's.
cool.
For everyone in the know, everyone already knows.
Yeah.
Spider Murphy's is where you come for a traditional tattoo out on the west coast of America. This is it. This is the Mecca.
Yeah, dude.
And Zuzz, do you want to introduce who we're talking to?
We are talking to the owner of Spider Murphy's, the infamous Theo Mindell. Hell yeah, dude.
Hey, Theo.
How you going, man?
All right, how are you guys?
We're here. We're enjoying it.
Yeah, jet lagged in here.
Oh, bro.
We are.
Living the dream.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate to be out here, like being able to talk to you, and sort of get to see your shop.
Yeah, it's nice to
man.
have you guys.
Thanks, dude. Yeah. It's like, it's so cool in here, man. You guys
It's
have got
almost 30 years.
really?
Yeah.
Holy
That's crazy.
shit.
30
I think
years.
we're one of the oldest shops in the Bay Area now, which is really trippy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I wonder how many tattoos have been made in these walls.
a lot. I mean, it was 20 years here and 10 years in the little spot down the street.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like around the block.
Holy.
It's funny. Yeah.
That's
It's trippy.
crazy,
I mean,
man.
I was 26 when I owned it, or when I opened it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of life.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. We've had a lot of people come through here. So many like amazing artists have like
Yeah.
come through in here, and like you can see how this place would inspire them and like change up their style so much.
Sure. Yeah.
And like I know learning under you as well.
Sure.
We were talking to Paul about it, and it's like he said you're a really, really good teacher for like those who are willing to learn.
Yeah. I mean, I think different people get different things out of it, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I think people are attracted to working in this place because of some of that probably is known, that you could come here and kind of cut your teeth and figure some things out if you want to. You know, it does
Yeah.
have that magic to it, I think.
Oh, for sure.
That transcends even me, honestly, which is cool.
I feel like I feel like as artists we kind of always draw from our environments as well and the people we hang around with.
Sure.
So I can imagine like spending time in here, you know, you're just bound to be inspired and like
Well, there's a lot of special people that have moved through here too, and
yeah.
I think everybody leaves a little of that spirit behind. It's just inevitable, right?
Yeah. So sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. It's very interesting because, so from the outside looking in, from Australia, now we rely heavily on what the Americans are doing to like kind of like pave the way, which we're now following suit with. But from our point of view in Australia, it seems that people come through here and yeah, they're inspired so much and their art changes so drastically that they actually get this style that looks like it was from the studio. So like we can be scrolling Instagram and you can just spot it before you even see any names or where it came from. You're like, oh my God, it's a Spider Murphy tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true. It's, you know, it's funny, like you think about like Andy Warhol or someone like that and all the people that probably worked under him, or bits of history where there was an art movement going on. I think now there's so much stuff that looks similar to the aesthetic that has come out of here. You know, there's so many good people kind of doing maritime tattooing that I don't want to say it's less recognizable, but I think that it's touched a lot of people, so they take their little bit of it and run with it and make it into something that they see. And now we have access to the internet, and you can see so much. You know, when I started out, it was just like whatever books I could get my hands on, or a couple pieces of flash or whatever to kind of build that aesthetic, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's so accessible to everyone. Like everyone's drawing influence from all over the world. You know, there's people in Australia looking at what you guys are doing over here, or
Sure.
what everyone's doing in Europe, or what the Spanish guys are doing.
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know?
they're great. It's funny, if you come up with a good idea now, I say you get like 10 minutes before someone nicks it and makes it their own. Or something. You know,
Yeah.
you used to get like at least a month or two.
Yeah,
you used to get a
exactly.
year sometimes, you know.
Bro.
I nursed that devil head for all it was worth, or the girl head before that. You know, now that's like this common language in tattooing.
Yeah.
But when I started out, I think most of the traditional tattooing that I was around, post-war 50s kind of rockabilly teddy boy culture was really big. And so they were doing more of that Jerry Collins kind of cartoony, bright, you know, a little cute, like celebratory of like traditional tattooing. It didn't have that kind of depression era.
Yeah.
There's a melancholy feel to the Owen Jensen and, you know, early Burt Grimm and all that stuff that's a little different from the bubbly post-war stuff. And I like them both. I think they're cool, but I think one of the big building blocks of the Spider Murphy's aesthetic, if there has been one, is that kind of depression era tattooing when everyone was really into like flashy stuff. I was trying to get to that kind of Owen Jensen feel, or, you know, Burt Grimm, that stuff. It just really inspired me.
Yeah.
So I think it stood apart a little bit from what was going on at the time, and then started to build on itself. And then all the other stuff that I love gradually gets in there, you know.
It's cool seeing like the different waves of like traditional and stuff, and like, yeah, like you were saying, the bubbly post-war stuff that's like kind of like a little bright and humorous and stuff.
Well, and there's still
the
New York thing when that was more built on that, you know.
Yeah.
More like Huck Spalding and all that stuff. That's that look to me that's kind of clunky and really primary colors, and, you know.
Yeah, it's super bright.
Yeah, it's, you know, the Spider Murphy's thing, if there is an aesthetic, a lot of what it was built on, I think, is that I had these really shitty photographs of old Flash that were probably sun faded and tobacco stained from years of people smoking and the glass being ambery and all that. So in my head, that's what those designs should look like, is the way they did age, like on the Flash, because I couldn't see the tattoos. You just saw black and white photos of Burchett or Bigmore or that stuff, and they were really blurry, and you could kind of pick their, you know, that famous portrait of Arturia or whatever it was, and you could get the vibe, but you're kind of recreating the dream you have of it, right? Of what it would look like if you were there.
That aged antique.
Right, and then all you have is that Flash, right, to look at. So it's like when I was doing those tattoos initially, I'm like, well, I guess it should look like the Flash, you know, but you don't realize it's like got sunspots in it, and the watercolor's like totally faded and oxidized, and so you end up recreating something in that way, and it ends up being a new aesthetic or a thing that's kind of like an antiqued version of probably what it really was, right? And then that other people build on that.
Yeah, it's super sick. Like, you definitely look at a lot of Spider Murphy stuff, and it's like, super muddy kind of colors. It's like a lot of black. It's like real dark.
Yeah,
it's super, super cool. And yeah, it definitely gives like an old timey feel to it. Whether or not those tattoos would have been like that dark back then, like,
who knows? Probably
who
not.
knows?
Yeah, I'm probably looking at the photos when they're like at least 10 years old, right? And they're kind of, and also too, all those machines back then probably were single spring. Some of them didn't have capacitors, so they're just like hammering in there. So the lines have that little bit of like, I call it the controlled blowout. Like there's a little fur on the line. Like now everything's so crisp and perfect. I can't even do that. It's not how I came up tattooing. To me, they're supposed to look a little clunky and folky, you know, but now I'm like, you know, like because you see people's close-ups of their line work, and it's just like, you know, it's so perfect, which is cool too. I mean, in the end, I always say, laugh, because it's like I have tattoos by so many people, great people, and people that were just friends that probably fucked it up or whatever, but in the end, like after 15 years they all look the same anyway. Like my Chris Kahn tattoo looks a little bit better than this one or that one, you know, but it's like it's still
they all kind
a
of
tattoo,
like,
they age, you know. It is what it is.
They soften in, and
it's a human art form at the end of the day. We're not machines.
Patina.
Yeah, it's supposed to be imperfect.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool now though that people execute it so well, because you figure the patina is going to come a little later or something. You have a little bit more time with it or something, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I don't know. Now you see certain groups of people going for like more kind of folky views of like traditional as well. Like people are going back to see like Rosie Kamanga's stuff as well, and it's like perfectly executed.
Oh yeah, that's
like,
funny, isn't it?
Clunky drawings. It's like
that's
so,
weird.
So
it's kind of
interesting,
weird.
like,
It's like kitsch. Kind of, you know, like a stickery version of something that was really poorly drawn. It's like a weird conundrum, right? It's like, what the fuck?
It fucks with my head, hey.
Yeah, I mean, people people always want what they see though. So if that becomes the mainstay of what people see out there, they're like, well, it's like a cute version of traditional, right? I'm a traditional tattoo. Like it's a little, sometimes I feel like it's a little like you're sucking the soul out of it or something. But you know, hey, it's tattooing, for better or for worse, is still operates as a commercial art form. It's just that there's no middleman with us. Like it's direct to the buyer.
Yeah.
Right. You know, which is what keeps it folk art in a way, because it's someone making something and selling it. It's the farmer's market or whatever, right? Which is cool. It's one of the last forms of art that are like that.
Yeah.
Where there isn't someone else in the mix that's kind of, you know, profiting off it in front of the two of us.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know, which is keeps it a little bit honest, at least.
Yeah, it's you have to go straight to the source.
Yeah.
If you want a tattoo off that person, you've got to go to that person.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's less collectors out there now that we're in an era, we're kind of back into the 70s and 80s in a funny way. We're in an era of probably only tattooers and maybe a couple of their friends or people that really get into it are going to be like, oh, I saw this design by this guy, so I want to get it by him or by her, you know. Whereas that used to be pretty commonplace. Now I think it's like people see a design on the internet and they bring it to the guy down the street or the woman down the street, and they're just like, yeah, I want this.
Yeah.
You know? And so that, to me, that's kind of sad, because I got into tattooing at a time where it was the other way and probably thought that was normal and took it for granted. And I didn't realize actually the way things are now is what tattooing always was. You know, it's like pick number 89 off the wall, or I saw this, tattoo it for me. It was much more of a commodity.
Yeah.
And you were like a tradie, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, you're doing this job for me. That's
Yeah.
the customer was like, that's your job. Do this job for me. It was, and I came up at a time in tattooing where I think it was really doing something new and interesting, and people saw it as more of like a collector's art form, so they wanted to have the thing from the person who made the thing.
Yeah.
And maybe the internet's changed that, you know.
Yeah.
It's interesting because like even last week back home, I had a guy book in with me, wait 2 months to get tattooed by me, came through the door. He'd sent through some reference online via email. Hey man, I kind of want this. I said, yep, no worries. I'm actually gonna draw you up like a one of a kind piece based from your image. I actually drew him up.
He's like, no, I want that.
well, he came in and I had two. I
No, but
drew
I
him.
want that.
That's exactly it. He wanted someone else's tattoo, and I said, sorry man, like we just don't do that here. And he's like, yeah, right, okay, well that's what I want. So I'm like, dude, I've drawn you up something. Yeah, it's a crazy era of tattooing.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, yeah, it was. You know,
But that's your guys' romanticized view of it, because you guys, I'm guessing, are a bit younger than I am. So you came up with the idea that the older guys that were tattooing and cutting their teeth, that's how it was going to be. And like I said, I took that for granted too.
Yeah.
And you're lucky if you have some of that, if you make a career for yourself where people do come to you for a thing, and you can earn that for sure and start to fill up your time with more and more of that. But ultimately, this is a fucking working class deal, man.
Yeah.
And people are simple. They do covet what they've already seen proven. That's why I always lean so hard into Tattoo Flash, because if you're trying to build a career like all the people here, it's the importance of it is that the only way for you to communicate what you're capable of, because I feel like most tattooers are at least a year ahead of the tattoo you see that they've done, because that's then and they're already learning from it, right?
Yeah.
But the only way for you to communicate and prove yourself is to draw your dreams, what you want to put on people.
Yeah.
So that is the importance, plus the fact that it's the only thing you have that's left, because they age and die and look worse every day, the tattoos, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
when you're painting, not only are you able to say, hey, this is what we could do, because if you just kind of say to somebody, okay, I'm going to take this and draw it my own way, they're like, people are like, yeah, but I like the Ferrari more than the Lamborghini or the this or the that. You know, I want it to look like that. I don't want that one, you know, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So it's a way for you to say, hey, because people, even like an outline, most people are simple. They don't know what what it's gonna look like.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Sure.
You know, it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but it's
Oh, no.
interesting,
No,
right? You know,
yeah.
Yeah, no, I find it fascinating. Like, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't ever want to go down in history as like a Xerox machine. Like, I really do believe genuinely in tattooing and artistic tattooing from my heart.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather not do the tat if it's going to be ripping someone off, like wherever they are.
sure.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, morally, it's just not something that I can personally do.
There's influence
Yeah.
or building on, and then there's just thievery, right?
It was, full thievery, and I can't do it. I feel.
I do think once people commit something to paper, though, and it's tattoo flash, that it's open season. You know, because that's the way it always was. So sometimes people get uptight about that too. Like, it's like the minute any of us paint something and it's up on a wall somewhere, and it's not, especially if it's not in your shop. Because think about that Spider Murphy's book. People send me photos from their vacation all the time. They're like, dude, I walked in this tattoo shop and it's just all your flash all over the thing, all the shop, everyone that's here. You know, and you see that, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I can't be uptight about someone doing it. I'm the one who put it out there, you know? Like,
Sure.
right. So it's trippy, like, but I get what you mean if you know it's a custom piece and it's a photo of it on the internet.
Yeah.
But it could be flash. Like, who the fuck knows anymore?
Yeah. It's
Oh,
The
that's
game's
it.
totally changed.
Yes.
We're in that era. We're back to the way it was from the 60s to into the 80s.
Yeah, man. I feel like if you've paid for the flash, like from that specific artist as well, I feel like then there's a bit more honor in that. Like, say if someone's brought you some artist's flash from overseas, and like it's the first time you ever seen it, and then you go tattooing that directly. I don't know if it feels a bit more like cheating.
Well, that's nice that you feel that way.
I feel like
I commend you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see how bad you need to pay your power bill or you need to eat. We'll see. No, I'm just kidding. But you get what I mean. I
Yeah.
just think like that fucking ownership shit, it's got like, I wish it was.
Yeah.
I wish more people felt the way you did.
Yeah.
But if anyone ever brings a drawing of mine in, you should do it.
Yeah. Dude,
Like,
100%.
you don't have to call me and ask. Just fucking do it and make the money.
Yeah.
We've got I've got all of the Spider Murphy books.
Yeah.
And each one I've actually bought twice so I could have flash for the walls.
Chop it up.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people did that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got it hanging at the shop and people pick designs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's for.
Yeah.
That's so
Exactly.
cool that is a reality because that's what it's for.
Yeah, people are meant to be able to come into a tattoo shop and like look around and pick off the walls, you know.
Or just, I think flash, not only does it make the shop look cool and circusy,
Yeah.
you know, because that carnival kind of thing, right? But it also opens people's minds to what they could do so that you can do your own thing. And maybe it's an amalgam of a bunch of the stuff that you love the most by different people, and you're putting it through your own filter.
100%.
But if you don't, like I said, that's what flash, for one thing, flash is advertising. It was meant to sell tattoos. And I think sometimes people lose sight of that they're just these little vignettes or stories or funny anecdotes or whatever that move people in some way, but they're visceral and kind of carnal. Like, they're really simple thoughts: love, hate, mom, dad, you know, like the stuff that money,
Yeah,
you
they're
know,
accessible.
sin, sex,
Yeah.
gambling, all these things that are primal, right?
Yeah.
So it's like those ideas, that's what flash is. And classically, most of the tattoo crowd wasn't overly intellectual, right? So they were, and now I think it's kind of like become this celebratory thing that they are these slightly like caveman ideas or stories, right? You know, they're
Yeah.
Sure.
pretty,
It's old school.
yeah,
Flash.
They're old motifs.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, we decided to like put the Spider Murphy books up in our studio because we wanted to make our studio look like this studio, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
like
Yeah.
we wanted to surround it with the art that we loved and that we wanted to kind of tattoo that kind of style and really lean into that sort of Spider Murphy cryptic, like really dark traditional tattoo flash, beautiful old school, like very rad
There's
stuff.
so much in that aesthetic too, because I think there's like a lot of that weird esoteric art and occult art and medieval stuff and all those like weird heraldic crests and all the kind of Library of Congress like old weird stuff, Masonic stuff and all that stuff that I was seeing inter-tattooing probably with Higgs did a lot of that stuff and started to touch on that stuff.
Yeah.
And it really inspired me and also kind of opened my mind to like what a tattoo could be, that it didn't have to just be a pinup girl or a, you know, this or like the more post-war stock stuff that, you know, I mean, I love Jerry Collins and some of it I love more than other eras of it, but it was very aimed at a certain crowd. He wasn't a weirdo. He was a staunch American, you know, like, and he was selling to Navy guys, you know, so there wasn't a lot of like trippy hippie stuff in there, you know, but it's like growing up where I did and all that stuff was an influence, all the psychedelia and San Francisco kind of counterculture and all that stuff is in there too, you know, and I think that's probably part of the reason that San Francisco was a special place for tattooing, because you had these kind of weirdos that also fell in love with this old guard of tattooing, and the two tides came together in a cool way, right?
Yeah, it's kind of mixed and melded into something like on its own. I don't know, it's cool. It's really cool. You can definitely see a lot of like the kind of psychedelic influence. Like Salem was driving us around like down Haight Street and stuff. Yeah,
that's where I grew up.
Yeah.
I went to elementary school on Haight Street.
Sick.
In the 70s,
No way.
Yeah.
And like, just like looking at all the buildings and stuff and him telling us about like kind of the history around there, I'm like, I get it. I get it now. Like,
it's sad because it's what's left of it. It's just a shopping mall now with a bunch of coffee shops kind of threaded in between.
It's kind of commercialized.
Yeah, I mean, that just happens. And also, retail's a tough thing right now, right? So it's like people do a lot of shopping online. So, but it used to be a place where people hung out, and there were, I mean, I saw Nirvana play in a place as big as this room, you know, with 40 people with the Melvins when I was, you know, 21 or something, in a little bar there. There were just, you know, I painted leather jackets in this place. And there was a club up above, and we used to sell tickets for the club, and we got in for free. So I would just go upstairs and watch whatever band played. I remember walking up there and seeing these two guys dressed head to toe in patent leather, black patent leather, and they had long black dreadlocks, and they were kind of matchy-matchy. And there was just a fog machine, and they were just running back and forth, cross-threading each other on the stage. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It was drum machines and whatever. And this chick looks at me, she's all, this is this band 9 Inch Nails, they're really cool. And I was like, what the fuck is this shit? So it's like, you know, that was the time for that, when all those bands, I saw Jane's Addiction in that era. I saw Mother Love Bone, who became Pearl Jam. I saw Pearl Jam when they were Mookie Blaylock, you know, Soundgarden, like like Loud Love era, you know, all those bands came through, and I saw Oasis with 40 people in the room, you know, like it was just like that era from the late 80s into the mid 90s, when there was still rock music and dance music and all kinds of stuff, but people had bands, and Haight Street was really alive in that way. It was a place where people lived and worked and drank, and you know, it was special.
It's interesting.
It seems like a special place.
It was.
Yeah.
How did you kind of break into tattooing?
Needed to eat. I painted leather jackets and did t-shirts, and when I was a kid in high school, did a bunch of flyers and for clubs and thrash metal bands. The thrash metal scene was really big in the Bay Area, and when I was in high school, it was just like, you know, Exodus and all those bands. And I started doing art for metal and punk bands, and then just kind of one thing led to another, and I had friends that were like, dude, you should tattoo, and I tried it once and was like, fuck this. It was so, I was kind of cocky. I thought, I can draw my, you know, my stuff looks better than most people's. I'll probably be really good at this. It's going to be easy or something. And I just could not stop shaking. I couldn't even get a line in. I was like, what the fuck? And my friend tattooed for Henry Goldfield a little bit, and also had a little setup in his house in San Bruno. And I was trying to tattoo one of the guys that I was in a band with. And I just drew, it was like a heart with crossbones or something real simple. And I tried to pull 2 lines, and I couldn't stop shaking. I was so fucking scared. And I just handed it to Bob, was the guy whose setup it was. And I'm like, you better do this. And I didn't try again for a couple of years. But finally, like, I had a friend that was kind of learning how to tattoo. You couldn't get an apprenticeship back then. I mean, there was it was Henry Goldfield was the only one you were going to go, hey, will you teach me how to tattoo? And you were going to basically scrub his toilets and get abused for a year and probably fired.
Yeah.
That was the running joke in San Francisco. It's like you weren't a real tattooer unless you'd been fired by Henry. And Henry's great. He's a character, but and an amazing tattooer. But it wasn't like apprenticeships were. It was a real closed business. People didn't want to let new people in, and especially not young people with new ideas, right?
Yeah.
So pretty much most of the tattooers I know that you guys would think of as, mainstays in the business that are my age, we all started tattooing out of our houses.
Yeah.
That's just the way it was. It was totally, DIY punk rock.
Yeah.
And some people then, after they did that for a while, like I did, would get a job working for a biker guy or whatever, and you'd get to do more of it. But I would hardly call it an apprenticeship.
Sure.
Yeah, that seems to be the general consensus. Even back home, like it was heavily gay kept for like such a long time.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you wanted to break into it, you're probably starting off at some like bikey shop or something like that.
Yeah. Don't you think? I feel like most things were more gate kept back then, even like, like acting or music or whatever. And to some degree, sure, that gets political and there's some bad things about it, but in another way, it's kind of sad because I think back then you really got the cream of the crop of most people, because there were some people that had been around it for a long time and had an idea of what it took to be really great at something.
Yeah.
So the only downside to now is everyone gets to be famous for, 15 minutes or, because of Instagram or social media. So it's kind of cheapened what it means to be great at something or to be famous or to have any kind of celebrity. To me, like I don't know about you guys, but if someone's, you don't bat an eye if someone's got 250,000 followers on Instagram, that kind of fame.
Yeah.
And it has cheapened other kinds of celebrity a bit in a way, as it does like when you see people that are like good technical tattooers, but they're not really, they don't have any great ideas. Because you see a lot of that. To me, like what's special about art is ideas.
Yeah.
And someone that can bring something new or their own special touch to it, right?
Yeah.
Because you see a lot of people that are really great at something. So it's like you see people with like a shit ton of followers and they seem like they're doing really well, but it's just like total stock bullshit to me. It's kind of fluff. It's just taking up space in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm not embittered about it, but I just, it's hard to figure out.
Yeah.
You're like, why is this special? Like, but I think it's because it's become a consumer driven world in that way. And people want safe.
Yeah.
No one Vincent van Gogh was not popular when he was painting.
Nah.
Only for doing landscapes that he could sell, that his brother would broker, right? But the sunflowers or Starry Night or something like that, people are like, what the fuck is this
fucking
shit,
dog
right?
shit, man.
That's just the way life is. It's like, so we're kind of back to that in some weird way, because I feel like people's emotional, psychological depth hasn't caught up with how quick the internet moves.
Yeah.
Media moves so quickly and there's not any permanence to anything. Like I said, you're lucky if you get 10 minutes with an idea before it's nicked and absorbed into the, amalgam of cosmos or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's trippy, like.
Yeah, it all kind of becomes white noise. There's so much going on.
Yeah, it's hard to filter it.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like that? I feel like,
yeah,
who the fuck knows what's good anymore? Sometimes I'm like, I guess it's fucking good. I don't know,
Yeah, it's tricky.
It doesn't move me emotionally. Like what you guys are saying you felt when you came in here, because there's a history here. There's like the ghosts of Christmas past or whatever joke you want to make about it.
Yeah.
That's so rare anymore.
For sure.
Because things are less permanent.
Yeah. Yeah, you were talking before about like, you putting something out there and it's like maybe a day or two before someone else is ripping it off,
Yeah.
It's interesting how it's changed. So it's like, there's always been other people ripping off other people's designs. Like, it's funny, we're talking to an older tattooer named Mo Webley, who lives in our hometown.
Yeah.
And he was saying back in the day, someone would walk in off the street with like a fresh like dragon tat, and you know the only way you could really like look at that is in person. It'd be like,
oh yeah,
hold still, let me get
for
a fucking
sure.
trace of that shit.
When I remember painting leather jackets on Haight Street, and this chick walked in, and it was like back in that kind of just pre-White Zombie era, and it was like everyone had like dyed red dreadlocks and like, you know, spiked black leather belts on, and you know, whatever that look, right before tattooing was legalized in New York. And I think she was from the East Coast, like maybe New York or maybe like Midwest Chicago or something. But she had a Guy Aitchison tattoo of Pandora's box with opening with, and it was super new school now, like, you know, but I just never seen anything like that. It was all light sourced out and had all these toys and weird shit floating up out of the box that was kind of started here.
Yeah.
And dude, it just fucking blew my mind. And I remember walking away and going back to her, and she's probably so annoyed because I didn't even tattoo yet.
Yeah.
I was like 20 years old, and I'm all, can I look at that again? Because I was still an artist, and it just fucking blew my mind. I did not know that tattoos could look like that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and that was you know, say what you will about, from our perspective, what we all love and have in common about tattooing, and it's gotten distilled down back to its original aesthetic. We're celebrating a simpler time. But that era of tattooing with guys like Marcus and Aaron Kane and Guy Aitchison and all that was necessary and also amazing to push tattooing, just what you could do.
Yeah.
You know, because I just did not know that could happen with tattoos, and it just blew my fucking mind, and it made me want a tattoo.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I feel like, in this day and age, you see all sorts of fucking crazy shit on the internet. You're like,
Yeah.
I guess we kind of take it for granted. We're kind of like,
It doesn't look like that
overstimulated.
in person.
Yeah.
People use a little dropper tool to sample the red, fill in the red. Like, have you ever seen all those tattoos when they're healed?
It's all filtered and all sorts and edited, and you know, but I guess maybe it gives us a false idea, or gives us a higher expectation for what a tattoo should be.
Fuck. If we even fall for it, think about the first customer getting into tattooing, what their expectations are. It's like, I don't even fuck with that. For one thing, it's not my jam or my area of expertise, but I feel like I'm just setting myself up to disappoint them. They're going to be like, that doesn't look like the picture, the chromed swan in the picture with the sunset in the background. The sunset doesn't look as fiery. Like, it's like, yeah, dude, well, you're fucking tan all year round. Like, what the fuck do you want from me?
Yeah.
I'm a hairdresser, not a magician.
Shit.
It's part of it, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. And we're also numb.
Yeah.
Sensory overload.
Yeah, bro. Everyone's overstimulated.
It does feel, I feel numb with so much of it.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, Theo, like back when I was growing up and I was starting to get tattooed, the shop that I was getting tattooed in had the Red Book, the Spider Murphy Red Book. And they had it on the counter. So it's like crazy. They'd let people flip through it like with their grubby fingers. Like, what the hell? But I used to flip through it. And like back in those days, there wasn't any Instagram, no Facebook. There was maybe MySpace. And I didn't even really know anything about tattoos, but it was this new, fresh
take on that.
Secretive thing, though.
Yeah.
It was like a secret. No one else that I knew had these kind of tattoos that I was flipping through these books. And I was like, what the fuck even is this? And like, and I started just picking tattoos from it and getting my body getting tattooed from it. And that book totally kind of revolutionized how I saw the world. And it was this secretive, very secret, very special thing that no one else knew about.
Secret language.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with today's era of like such an oversensory and
Not
overload.
a secret anymore.
No.
It's not a fucking secret at all.
Cat's out of the bag.
Yeah,
But
definitely. I don't even know if there's a bag anymore.
It's down the river. It's gone, man.
Right.
But it's just, it's wild to me that like, you know, it used to feel so like, I don't know, honest
Well, you
and
had
special.
ownership.
Yeah.
But that's part of being young and being in an open, like a clean slate. We all feel that way. Like the first time you heard punk rock, or the first, you know, it's like it being the baby and having chocolate for the first time.
It's like,
You're
holy
what
fuck.
the fuck is this? You know, like, and that's that there's a certain amount of us being naive.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, remember the first time you fucking French kissed a girl,
Yeah.
like you fucking probably almost jizzed in your pants. Like it's just
Yeah.
like that because it's such a new thing and
Yeah,
we're
for
all
sure.
just you're open. But now I think by the time you're 10 and a half years old, you're probably jaded. I mean,
Yeah.
right? People, we're in the era of information. And the
dude.
information comes at maybe every 10 years or something, people's brain synopsis speeds up a little bit so that they can uptake information quicker. I don't know because
Yeah.
I'm a fucking dinosaur now. I'm just like Haley was laughing at me yesterday. She's all, I love watching you press buttons because I'm like, dark, like because I didn't come. Like, dude, I remember when I started tattooing, there was not the internet
Oh yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like AOL dial-up or whatever the fuck it. I mean, you guys grew up. You grew up with MySpace. I remember when MySpace started. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, but I
Yeah.
didn't realize what was coming. Right? How could you?
Yeah, man. It makes you think about what it's going to be like in a few years.
You think things hit critical mass where, sure, I mean, I think it's like the Industrial Revolution. You saw the world get mechanized.
Yeah.
And then there were small improvements or streamlining or, the powers that be learning how to fuck the working class so that, or whatever it is, right? People streamline it and learn how to make money off of it and take it. And that's the era we're in right now as people have learned how to exploit it. But I think now it's just going to be little tweaks. It's hard to have any overview of that stuff. Like when I got into tattooing, I say this to people, like when you're in a renaissance for something or some kind of revolutionary period for an art form or computer science, or like I was saying, mechanical industry or something, I don't think you can see that.
Yeah.
I think it's not until later that you look back and you go, oh, that was a thing. And you
Yeah.
could kind of date it like, oh, well, this 20-year period, things just jumped, 300% forward.
Yeah.
And then they kind of slow down
And they
again.
plateaued.
Well, yeah, I mean, what, like, they keep trying to come up with new ways to kind of fuck everything up worse. But really, it's just tweaks at this point.
It's like AI. Have you seen that shit?
Yeah. I mean, that's one that's definitely going to change some stuff.
Yeah. I think that's probably going to be one of those things we look back on and be like, what the fuck, man?
I think that's going to fuck, like, the movie industry because you see people,
Yeah.
creative people, right, that are cool, that have some sense of history or, like I see people make these weird, like, 70s sci-fi looking things that are very period, and it looks like they took 70s paperback sci-fi book covers, which I love all that kind of art from that period. But you still have to be smart enough to tell the computer, you have to be hip enough to things to tell the computer what to do, to give it keywords like reference this, and blend it together.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have some sense of art history or pop culture history, you don't know what the fuck to tell the computer, and it's just going to come out stale, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for now,
Yeah.
for now, but that's not going to be lost. Like it's going to come down probably to people that are diggers, like crate diggers, you call them, right? The people that do buy books or that search for old cool things, because you still have to have bullets for that gun.
Yeah.
Creatively, like if you guys don't, I always said to everyone here, when you're trying to learn how to do this caveman language or whatever, if you want to do it authentically, if you want to sound like Delta Blues, or even say you want to sound like the Rolling Stones, which is based on some of that, you have to go back to Delta Blues and to like weird chain gang songs and, field worker songs and all that stuff and gospel music and all that stuff. Because if you don't, you're just going to sound like a bad knockoff of the stuff. You're not going to get to that integral, heartfelt thing that makes something feel real. So it's still going to be about you guys obviously are going to the places that you love and trying to absorb some of the thing that meant something to you. So I think there's still going to be something said for that.
Yeah.
You can't replace that.
Nah, 100%. I feel like we've talked about it a few times. There's always that kind of return to things that are tangible and physical,
emotional,
yeah,
human.
yeah. Or it's like with like
We're here.
yeah, we're talking.
You know?
We could be we could be doing this over the internet, you know, but fuck that. That sucks.
Yeah,
I
what the-
want to be.
interviews,
I want to
Yeah.
breathe the air in here, man.
Yeah.
That's it.
You know?
That's
Yeah,
it.
smell the stink.
Yeah, dude, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like with
Sometimes, day to day.
This season of Rats Get Fat is sponsored by Industry Tattoo Supply. In this day and age of e-commerce, we've never had so many options right at our fingertips. This also extends to tattoo supplies. And with so many options comes a choice, whether to buy from global entities or to support local businesses. This is where Industry comes in. They're an Australian family-owned business who pride themselves on taking care of not only individual artists, but the community as a whole. They'll supply you with both quality products and quality information. If you'd like to find out more about the ways Industry is supporting local artists, be sure to check out their website, as well as their YouTube channel. Links to both can be found in the description. Thanks to Industry Tattoo Supply for sponsoring the show. Now back to the episode. You know, everyone's got, or Netflix or anything, everyone's got everything available at their fucking fingertips. Yeah, people are still going to record stores and stuff and buying, you know, physical.
Some people.
The people that really give a shit.
We have to remember, because you're an artist, you're always going to crave that. Like I said, that visceral feeling is satisfying to you in some way, and it's an integral part of you that that without that you start to feel dead inside, and you do feel like you're just, like you were talking about being a shop tattooer and that kind of thing. We used to call that being a script bitch, because you just do script names all day, right? I don't want to be a fucking Jeff Whitehead used to say, I ain't no script bitch, you know, like, I used to laugh. I'm like, I'm a fucking script bitch. Like, I'll fucking do it. Papa's gotta eat. But I did terrible script. But I mean, you need those experiences to feed yourself creatively. Yeah. Because if not, you are just looking at a screen all the time. I mean, when I started out, one of the ways I think that this place took shape and that aesthetic materialized is because all I had was the dream. I didn't have anyone to show me the things that I loved. Yeah. All I had were some books with old photos, the same old photo of old tattoos. Like I said, the black and white furry ones you could barely see, and some old flash. And so it's just like you start to make this romantic idea that's in your imagination of what it is. And that's how something new is born from something old. Yeah. But it's like, it's not the same as looking on a computer screen or seeing someone else's filtered idea of what it is that they've really commercialized to appeal to the masses, because that people love to be fucking popular. You know, I've struggled with that my whole life. It's like, I'm not the guy that shows up to the cool party all the time, because I like doing the stuff that kind of makes you popular, but I don't think I'm very good at it, like at playing the other game. You know, like I like being in a band. I like doing this stuff, and I it's like dressing up as Batman, but I don't necessarily want to go do a meet and greet all the time or something like that. I don't know, you know. But I think that most people want to be popular or admired, you know, and you have to be careful. Don't listen to the critics at all. Like, don't listen to when they're saying bad things, but especially don't listen to people saying good things. Yeah. Because that'll fucking kill you. Yeah, it fucks you up, man. Then you just get high on your own farts and you don't do anything cool anymore.
It's the worst thing for you sometimes. I feel like it's good to have, like, I don't know, a bit of both. You know?
Yeah, I mean, everyone wants to be loved a little bit, right?
You don't want to. Most people don't want to make shit that everyone hates.
Of course not.
Some people like that shit.
Yeah, I suffer for being that snobby kid that probably just wants, like, people to get me to really like it. You know, like, it's like if someone that I'm like, yeah, but you like this or that. I'm not so much anymore, but I think when I was younger, I was like kind of one of those guys that was like, oh, it doesn't, if some square person tells me that they think I'm great, like I won't pay attention, which is totally asinine. You should be happy if anyone fucking notices it all, because it's hard out there. you know?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
No, it's super interesting. I think it's interesting what kind of drives certain people to create, whether it's like, outside sources for whether it's attention or something more internal, like a kind of need.
Yeah, well, the people that I think are really special and great are oftentimes crazy, so it can be very internal, you know. But we all like to be liked or recognized. That's just a human condition, you know. But
Yeah.
I think you have to watch out for, like you said, if it's just all about money or approval or buying shit or, you know, that's kind of it. That gets pretty empty after a while. You have to still love the thing.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
If you're going to be special, you know, I don't think too many people have ever really gotten great at something if they didn't actually love the thing they were doing.
Oh, what's the point?
People, I mean,
Besides money.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Hey, that's nice too, you know.
money is nice, but I feel like it's more of a vehicle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think people want to feel safe and, you know, comfortable and whatever.
Yeah.
And then some people like to be flashy, or they're more competitive than other people, or,
Yeah.
you know, I tend to be mostly competitive with myself.
It's good.
It just is what it is. I mean, I have moments where I'm like, fuck, I could do what that person did just as good, or I'm going to do it, you know.
Yeah.
But that's good too. You know, if someone's doing something really good and you know it, and it pushes you to do what you do better, that's healthy, you know, I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I feel like people in this day and age where we are looking at everyone's work and stuff, and it is a filtered version of that, and it looks super sick and clean and crisp, but like it's so easy for people to get down and out about it and like, oh, why aren't I fucking doing that kind of shit?
Dude, any monkey can do that. I mean, not that I can, or that I put that much energy into that part of it, but to me, the X factor is always going to be the ideas. You know, it's like you said, new tattooers like Barra and guys like that. He's a fucking little factory, isn't he? Right? He just churns it out. But what's impressive to me is that he takes pretty standard imagery that we've all seen before and combines it into these cool new ideas, and he just keeps fucking churning it out, dude. You know, Rafa too, and those guys, they're just special in that way. They've taken little bits of probably this and other things that they loved about it and made it totally their own thing, you know, old tattoos and all that. But the fucking ideas,
It's crazy, man.
that's what's great about it.
Yeah, there's like a little renaissance over there happening. It's fucking
I mean, I think, don't you? I mean, England had moments of that. I feel like Australia did too. I remember Australia when I first saw like Kapili or people like that, where I was like, wow, that's really special. It's an interesting take on it. You know, you can always tell the people where you're like, that person's doing something a little bit different. Or, you know, everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And I think those little pockets spring up and places have little moments that way.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's cool to see that.
It is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Do you feel like with social media and everything like that, that it's less and less of those pockets are going to appear and it's going to be a bit more
Homogenized.
Yeah.
I think that if you think of the true meaning of the word provincial, which to me means that, you know, it's like of the area, right? Food of the area. Like champagne is only technically called champagne if it's from
Made
a
in that
province,
area,
right?
yeah.
So I think the internet's a great equalizer. Like you won't ever have a time again where people would say, oh, Swing in London, you know, all those bands like the Stones, or, you know, or like Seattle grunge scene or hair metal in LA or whatever, punk, you know, punk rock, you know, 77, like these moments in time, you know, music's the easiest way for me to, you know, thing to equate it to, because they're provincial, because they come up with a bunch of kids in one place that get turned on to a couple bands or things and mix it together. And they're all a little different, but they have some kind of spirit or commonality that makes it a movement. And now, because you can be a retro 80s glam rock kid and be in Sweden, because I see them pop up and it's so weird. I'm like, dude, he looks like he's in fucking Poison or something, like in 1987.
It's sick.
And they're in Stockholm or so, you know. But because you can just be on the screen and be like, hey, this is me, and do your TikTok thing or whatever it is. We're not cut off enough from each other for things to be truly provincial like that. You know, I mean, everything's really exposed. So that's sad in a way that maybe there's becoming more of a homogenized identity. There's always going to be people like us that love this thing, but we're spread out everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not like you guys said when you got here about San Francisco being this special gem where a certain kind of aesthetic sprang up. I don't know if that'll happen quite the same way as it did.
Yeah, it's super interesting, but I don't know. I think it's kind of cool in other ways as well. Like it's sick that everyone's drawing inspiration from each other worldwide.
Probably makes things better in one way.
I guess the tide raises all ships, really.
Yeah, sure. I think it's just we're adjusting to it.
Maybe.
It's new and different.
Yeah.
And there's always gonna be human beings don't love change,
No, we
right?
fucking
None
hate
of
it.
us do. Like, you know, so we're always gonna kind of gripe along, begrudgingly get dragged to the new deal or whatever. You know, it's just the way life is. I don't, you know.
Yeah.
I'm in my golden years, man.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as I think when you're at a certain place in anything that you love, be it tattooing, you know, whatever it is, you kind of walk across the tightrope and just look straight forward. You're not looking down or to the side or thinking about what could happen or whatever. You're just like, I'm doing this, you know? And as you get older and farther along in something, you have way too much kind of overview and history behind you and different relationships and just memories and whatever to have that just singularity or that drive that way. I mean, I still do when I'm painting something, I get lost in it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like hyper focused, and it's meditative in that way. It's nice.
It definitely is.
Quiets the voices, right?
Yeah. I find like it's probably one of the most enjoyable things about tattooing, if not the most enjoyable thing.
Yeah, because you don't have to.
You're
The
not-
canvas doesn't talk.
Yeah, I was about to say, it doesn't
no
fucking
one's
talk
giving you a
back.
fucking opinion.
Yeah.
You're doing what you want to do.
Yeah, bro.
I don't want to put fucking red there.
Yeah.
I was gonna put green there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's so fucking funny, eh? Yeah, I don't know. I love it. It's definitely my favorite thing.
Me too.
About it.
Most tattooers that do the kind of stuff that we do, that's a
Yeah.
commonality.
Yeah.
Paul always said that. Paul and I both would look at each other and go, if someone would just pay me to paint all the time, that would be sick. Tattooing's fucking hard, dude. It's
Yeah.
hard to do it well. You're dealing with different bodies and different parts of the body and stretching skin and hoping you don't overwork stuff, but you get it in there and,
Yeah.
you know, and it's a lot happening at the same time. It's fucking not easy.
It's unpredictable.
It is. And it's also I always said tattooing is like kind of like a blue collar craft as much as it's an art form. And it kind of rides the line between being like a blacksmith and a fucking painter, right? It's weird.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy, yeah.
It is.
You know?
Yeah.
And there are a lot of variables and, you know, so painting is nice. It's fucking relaxing.
Yeah, it's super, super meditative. You can just sit there for hours and hours and, I don't know, create an artifact, you know? It's so cool.
And also it's like something that for tattooers, it's something you get to realize a dream that you had unfiltered through someone else's kind of vision.
Yeah.
And you have it to hold on to it. It's a marker for you. Like at least, you know, I'm to a place now where I feel like I'm either have evolved enough to where I have a longer span of time before I hate something that I did, or I've just flatlined, so it's as good as I can do it. So now I'm just like, I just accept it. I'm like, that's good. That's as good as I can do it. You know, like I don't know what.
Yeah, move on to the next one.
Yeah, but I used to be, I would paint something. I'd be lucky if I got like a month out of it, and then I'd be like, it fucking sucks. You know.
We're all our own worst critic at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, that's what you want to be.
Yeah.
If you fucking think you're awesome all the time, you're in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like your ability or your taste in art is always like 2 steps ahead of your ability. So you always
your dream of what it could be.
Yeah, you're always
is a
kind
little
of
out of reach of like what you're.
Yeah, you get that like flash of what's happening in your mind. You're like,
something
yeah.
clicks.
Like,
Sometimes I think that comes from making mistakes. when you make a mistake and you have to fix it and something different or new happens, you'll kind of be like, oh, I could do this, you know? And then you apply that to the next time without the mistake, and it's fucking sweet. You know,
I think they're fucking important. Mistakes are like
absolutely
the most important things you
they're
can make.
especially good to do on paintings and not tattoos.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Or to figure out how to fix them quietly before anybody notices, right?
I swear to God, that happened to me before we left for the States. I was sitting there all day. I had a free day where I wasn't tattooing. I spent the whole fucking day painting this piece. You were there.
Yep.
And right towards the end of the day, I had like a bit of ink on my fucking hand. I'm like painting this like, pin-up girl and a dragon and stuff. And right in the middle of her fucking thigh,
Nice.
a nice little fucking ink
That's what you
spot.
call antiquing.
Hell yeah.
I've seen many a person incorporate into their antiqued filter. All of a sudden, their painting or their flash got way more antiqued than it was.
There's like
before.
splats and shit everywhere.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. There's like
Yeah,
lighter
I
burns.
guess she's wearing stockings now.
Yeah. That's so funny, yeah. But it's like, yeah, you almost gotta treat it like a tattoo, I guess. Like, do you like rip
have
it
to
up and
fix
start
it.
again,
No.
or do you fix it?
Well, you see it through, and then if you're that in love with it, you do it again, or you revisit it, or you do a different version of
That's
it.
what
or
I
whatever.
thought.
Yeah.
I think I ended up fixing it, kind of. I put it and have a flame and kind of
Fixing
hit
in
it,
Quotes.
but it's like, it's not what I envisioned, and but I'll fix it anyway. I'll like finish it.
I wonder how many of the paintings or pieces of flash that we're all totally in love with that came from, you know, the 20s or 30s or whatever. Because I'll see stuff where I'm like, that's fucked. Or we laughed the other day, Haley. So I gave Haley these. I'm all, you know what you should do? You should look at those old like 70s porn theater posters, because some of that clip art and stuff that they had to put together fast, you know, advertising and postcards and all that is what Tattoo Flash came from, and old vignettes and whatever. So I'm like, some of that stuff is so genius. And she was putting together this sheet, and I was helping her trace this one little part, and Tony goes, hey, like her hand's backwards because her pinky was out like this. And she's like, no, that's her pinky. And he's like, oh, well, where's her thumb then? Because she was kind of doing one of these or something.
Yeah.
And then we looked at the fucking poster, and she had 6 fingers.
Fuck off.
So it's like, it's not just us. And now, I mean, granted, it was a fucking porn theater poster or something, but it slid by someone like it was fucked.
He had
She
something else.
had
in his
alien
mind.
hands.
Yeah.
So there you go. Like, what, you know.
That's that's unreal.
And no one even caught it.
Yeah, exactly. I was too busy staring at something
Yeah.
else.
And we both of us traced the hand again with 6 fingers and didn't catch it. So.
But it's kind of, I think it's cooler to keep it that way, though.
Yeah, there's something to it. It's funky, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We see how many other people
Don't
can
let
fucking notice.
Shoddy anatomy get in the way of a good design.
Yeah, hey.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say many of those guys did. You look at the anatomy, sometimes it's like there's no neck. The head's down on the shoulders. Like this.
yeah.
They got the U boobs or whatever it is.
yeah.
Good old U boobs.
Oh, bro. That's what makes it charming. I
Yeah.
guess. You know, that's what makes it cool.
Yeah, and it's funny that now it's charm. I mean, you also have to realize that a lot of that stuff was scratched into acetates with razor blades and
Oh, yeah.
like whatever. You know?
Yeah, that's it.
So now it's charming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's charm,
Yeah, it's
isn't it?
I mean, and also they were longshoremen that didn't have work that learned how to do something else. So
Yeah.
anatomy probably wasn't their biggest concern.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. It's super interesting. Have you ever tattooed from like an acetate or anything like that?
No, I never have.
Yeah.
I mean, I have acetates,
Yeah.
but I mean, I know the process. I can't. It would terrify me. I can barely tattoo from a stencil. You do know how they did it?
yeah. Well, they use like graphite powder. Yeah.
But it just stuck to Vaseline.
Yeah.
And you're under hot lights, and that's why when I learned to tattoo, I remember reading the Huck Spalding book, A to Z. Have you guys ever seen that?
I think so.
It has so much misinformation in it. It's like a fucking learner beware. Like they tell you stuff that's just wrong. I tattooed for a month without the first 2 months with no rubber bands on my machines because I could not fathom that my friend David told me, "Oh, there's supposed to be rubber bands on there, dude. I'm pretty sure." We're just figuring it out. I'm like, "Shut the fuck up, dude. You do not put rubber bands on this." I could not fathom that this amazing tool that makes permanent things on people's body, that a rubber band was necessary to fucking make it work.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
but,
still
like,
need that fucker.
dude, so much of that that book is really funny, but it said you always start from the bottom of the stencil and work your way up. Like it was like always in capitals, you know, and that's because the Vaseline starts to melt off and there goes your graphite. I mean, so it's not totally unbelievable that some of the anatomy would be a little here and there with guys that didn't really know how to draw and they're just trying to make a living.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, at the end of the day, it is like it's a trade.
It's both.
Yeah.
It's what you make of it, right?
Yeah, it bridges that gap.
Yeah, it's definitely got some of that in it.
Yeah.
For sure, a good healthy amount.
Yeah, it keeps it honest, I think, in like some ways.
I would say tattooing taught me patience and method because I was just a kind of artist, like throw everything at it and hope for the best. And tattooing's very, you have to do things a certain way and you set up a certain way and that thing, you know, it's like a discipline, you know, there is that element to it.
Yeah.
And you have to not cross-contaminate and think about all these things. It's a lot to think about.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you're just a messy artist, right? You kind of gotta have more of your shit together. I mean, I've seen people do some pretty dodgy shit over the years.
Yeah.
But, you know.
But it is also learned and practiced. Like, you know, we all sort of like learned the method.
Yes.
And then after X amount of time, it just becomes second nature. And like, you can think about what you're having for dinner whilst you set up, and you're just like, you know, you're just
Maybe
like,
you can. I'm still like, oh, how do I do this again? But dude, the first guy that I worked for, this biker guy, would wrap the Kleenex around his pinky and his index finger, like do that thing that's like old school thing, and it was always a Kleenex or tissue, and that shit sucks. Like it just gets dust everywhere and gets caught in your needle grooves and all that, and your needle stops feeding and all that. I don't know how the fuck, but he would do the wick 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 thing with his hands with the fucking Kleenex wrapped around it, and he would not get off my case. Like it was like his life's mission to make me do that. And I was like, dude, I'm never going to be able to do this. Like never. And I still can't do it.
Yeah.
But I tried. I gave him my best shot, but I'm like, fuck it. Whenever he wasn't around, I'm like, fuck this. And I just fucking but it's funny like that, how people back when I started, the method and the craft was almost more important than the art. People kind of let you get away. And I think that some of that was smokescreen shit because a lot of those guys couldn't really draw that well or when I started out. So it was like, I'm a good tattooer though because I do it right and I do it this way. And then there's always people that couldn't tattoo for shit or didn't know any of that but could draw really. So you got to kind of have both, you know, I think, to really be good.
Oh yeah, exactly. You know, a lot of people can. It's like it's easier to be a tattooer now more than ever.
Oh yeah, well it's just like fuck. You could just watch a bunch of YouTube videos. Yeah, I definitely would have known to put rubber bands on my machines if I'd had fucking YouTube. They'll tell you what kind of rubber bands.
Yeah.
Like seriously, where to get them? You know.
Exactly.
Back then it was like you couldn't even find out how to get a certain kind of red pigment.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it really was like if someone had something good, and I sound like I'm being one of those fuckers that's like back in the day, but I mean, I caught the very tail end of that.
Yeah.
You know, and then if you liked someone, you shared information or whatever, but I don't think there's any of that left really. Maybe a little bit, but not really.
Not really. People are going to find it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super interesting.
Or someone's going to give it up, right? That's the thing. It's like, they're like, well, maybe I'll get fucking 100 more views on my YouTube video. I'm going to fucking let the cat out of the bag about the red or whatever, the rubber bands or whatever the fuck it is, you know?
Yeah.
I want those views.
It's super.
give me those views.
Yeah, totally.
People love to soak it up, eh?
Yeah.
I think
it's interesting.
Yeah. It's
no longer is it gate kept.
Yeah,
It's like it's open season.
People also, with that like to be liked thing, they like to sound like they know what they're talking about, so they can't help themselves. They're like, well, this red is the fucking red, right? Yeah. Everyone's going to think I'm really smart. Like, you know? Everyone's going to like me.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to get more attention.
More likes.
Attention whores.
Yeah,
everyone's a fucking Kardashian now.
Oh, man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's sick. I think like the upside of it being so accessible is that like a lot of people are really like, I don't know, artistic or creative, that it's easier for them to get into it.
Sure. Well, it's definitely elevated it.
Yeah.
Technically. there's a I used to say this, it's like now there's no one left to go to see the band at the show. It's just a bunch of bands that aren't as big standing around critiquing the band they came to see. Like the audience is gone because everyone became a tattooer, right?
Yeah.
So now that's one thing that, you know, and that's probably how the guys felt when my age group was getting into it. And you guys are, you know, now in between. I mean, you guys aren't fucking 21. How old are you?
I'm 20. I'm turning 25.
Okay,
so
you're still a
I'm
baby.
still a spring chicken.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, you wait, dude. It's going to be 15 minutes and
Yeah.
you're going to be 35.
Yeah.
And there's going to be 20-year-old kids getting into it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just part of the deal. It just changes. And
Yeah. There's always like kids these days.
the collectors
man,
became
kids these days.
tattooers. So
Yeah.
that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
And the fans for the bands became small bands, because the minute you could post your songs on social media or put your tattoos you did at home, your stick and poke up, and you could start a stick and poke revolution or buy your fucking little rotary $18. Brian and those guys used to buy these $18 rotaries off fucking Amazon or something, and they weren't fucking bad.
Yeah.
They were fine. They worked well enough. Like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? It doesn't, you know, people are like, oh, this machine, whatever. It fucking, it works or it doesn't. You know, some work better.
Oh yeah.
But they could tattoo with them, and he would use them.
yeah,
Sick.
man. I guess like
It's
yeah,
killer.
yeah. An artist, like, they can really do anything. It was like we were talking to Paul, and he's like, "Yeah, I could make a fucking tattoo of a rock and a."
I
cactus."
always say he got that from me.
Yeah?
Too. I make a tattoo with a stick and a rock.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
There
you
you go.
know, I'm sure Paul and I are going to share a lot of the same
Yeah.
fucking jive now.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, because he's much more technical than I am. Even you know, he's a great craftsperson. But I mean, I really am just like, oh, I don't know. It's gonna look like I did it. Just give me the stick and the rock. You know, like to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And I'm not glorifying that. Sometimes I have wished I was, you know, a tight ear technician or whatever. But it's just not maybe how I feel art or whatever. You know, I'm not trying to be in any certain way. But I came up with looking at those old tattoos, and like the ones I loved, and they looked like fucking
yeah.
a little clunky and tough. They weren't pretty princess perfect stickers, you know. So that was just the way that it came through my filter or whatever.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's probably not cool.
Oh, you know,
It seems super authentic,
Yeah,
which is like
exactly.
I hope so.
where I think
That's important to me.
yeah.
you know the magic kind of comes from, like authenticity, and like I don't know, it's sick.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's magic about life, isn't it?
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
know, mostly is
Yeah.
like authentic people and authentic experiences,
Yeah.
and it, you know, the truth of it is like you could love something so much that you try and be it, and if you try long enough or imitate long enough, you will become. And people forget that, you know, because we all get a little imposter syndrome or whatever, especially when we're starting out. You're a little sheepish. You're like, oh, covering your paper. I don't want someone to see me looking at this book or this guy's thing while I'm drawing this. What the fuck are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of imposter syndrome, like, I don't believe that at all. I'm going to steal everything and just put it through my filter. But I don't have that anymore because I get to be me, and I've proven that
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like the proof is in the pudding. How many people have come through here?
You've done your rounds. You've done your time.
Yeah, I mean, but that's freeing. But ultimately, I just don't believe that. I think the minute you put it out into the world, you lose ownership of it.
Sure.
And to think anything else, and people, you know, you can't copyright good.
Oh,
And if
yeah.
something's good, people are going to look at it and be attracted to it and whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And you just have to accept that,
100%.
you know?
Yeah.
Chances are, if you think a girl's hot, there's going to be a couple other people that do too.
Oh,
So
yeah.
don't bitch about it when there's some neck breaking when you're walking down the street with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know, it's
exactly.
just, there's just facts of existence, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, once you put it out there, like, it's out of
Yeah.
your control.
It's out there.
Yeah.
You've given it to the cosmos,
yeah.
you know, and you have to let go of it.
Yeah, it's a gift. I
Yeah.
know.
If I fucking wrote people nasty letters every time I saw my fucking devil head, the first one I ever did, pop up a version of it on the internet,
Yeah.
you know, probably on a fucking coffee mug or something, you know, like, what the fuck am I going to do? write the people in China and be like, you stole my flash. It's on a coffee mug, you know? Fucking never sleep.
Yeah. I think you got to like look at that and just be like, sick, you know? That's
Yeah,
cool.
well, it's recognition, but also too, you have to realize part of what we love about tattooing is that it's a pirate's life for me, right? And it has that element, and it's freeing for all of us, and it is folk art, and we get to be who we want to be. The price of admission to that world is that there's zero ownership. So fucking get over it now, because you ain't got nothing. I mean, maybe Ed had ownership, or you know, like whoever fucking owns Jerry Collins stuff, you know, he can sell it to they can sell it to the rum people or whatever the fuck it is. But really, we're not gonna, we're not gonna own shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And if anything, I think it's a circle. Like, I took so much and got so much out of tattooing. Tattooing's given me everything. So if it's taking back from me in some weird way, that's fucking, it is what it is. It's a circle.
Oh,
you know, you gotta give what you get, you know?
Exactly. I think there's always like a give and take with tattooing. You've always got to be sure to give back, you know?
I don't think, I mean, I don't know if like I have intentionally thought about giving back.
Okay.
But I think I just care about it and care about doing something cool.
It happens.
So that should happen organically if you're head screwed on straight.
Yeah, if it's
and
in
you
the
give
right
a shit.
place.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Oh, on that note,
I
think that's a beautiful note to end on.
Nice.
Thanks so much
for
having us in here and like coming and sitting down for a chat, man.
Yeah, it's good meeting you guys.
It's been inspirational.
Cool.
Super inspirational.
Yeah.
And man, normally I'm very chatty.
Yeah, you.
But I just shut the fuck up.
But I was taking up all the air in the room.
Dude, that's
blah, blah, blah,
we'd
blah.
love to like let people talk, man.
I was absorbing.
No one wants to fucking hear us anyway. They hear us all the time.
Man, Theo, what a fucking pleasure, man.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you guys.
Wow.
Thanks for taking the time to do this with me. I don't really do a lot of interviews.
No.
Yeah, that's why we wanted to do it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I don't know why people hit me up and stuff, but I'm just, like I said, I'm not a big party goer.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
thanks,
for
man.
time,
Yeah,
we
thank you.
fucking really appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah, me too.
Anyway,
Yeah.
rats get fat. See yous.
All right. See you next time.
Cheers.